All right. Salut à tous. Welcome, folks. That was probably the worst French intro. I was thinking about doing a longer French intro about this one. If you don't know, the reason this is really embarrassing is I graduated a French high school. But welcome everyone back to the TED Talk. This is another player interview, another one that I'm really excited for. The reason this is a really special one is because this is only our second show uploaded to Spotify. I'm starting to upload those shows regularly on Spotify, and this is the first player interview on Spotify. So it is Maka. Technically, you are the first player to be featured on the Spotify of the TED Talk, not the first one on the YouTube, but it's still a milestone, I guess. The first one was a podcast with Thorin. But yeah, joining me is gonna be 3Max's very own AWPer, Maka, ex-in-game leader. If I started listing all the teams that you've played for before, well, a lot of them are really similar players, but a lot of different names. It would take us around 2 hours, so we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna go through some of them as the show goes on. But thank you very much for joining me. How have you been?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be there. Thank you very much to receive me, and I'm pretty much excited to share this moment with you.
I am really excited as well. We've been talking about doing this interview for a while now, for maybe 2 months. After the first time the idea was brought out, but it is a really good moment to have that conversation because obviously a lot has happened. We were talking about doing that, I think, at Fisher. The first season of Fisher. Now you've played even one more season of Fisher and a couple other events, so there's a lot of things to unpack here. But the way that we kick things off here on this channel, especially with people that we haven't spoken to, and also this is because we talk about things that I care about, and I care about the French scene. We're gonna start with the start of your professional career within the French Counter-Strike scene, because you are a pretty old school player, even though you're a newer, let's say, addition to the highest tier of Counter-Strike, because you just qualified for your first major last year in Shanghai, and then you played in Austin as well. But you have been playing professional Counter Strike since 2017. So the way that we're gonna start things off is: do you remember what the French Counter Strike professional scene was like when you were growing up? And when did you decide that you wanted to become a pro CS player?
So yeah, going to travel back in time, very far back then. So when I was in university, I was playing Counter Strike. I was not watching CS that much. I have just a couple friends like sending me like the major matches,
Mm-hmm.
most of them. I think back then it was like the Brazilian scene that was popping up with Fallen and killazoo,
Okay.
and so I decided to play like competitively with friends in like team stuff when I saw them winning the majors, and I had no clue that I could be a professional or that professional was a big thing, even though I could watch some games, and I was just watching the French in when it was at the top. I think it was going a little bit downwards because it was the new iteration of the G2
Okay.
Superteam,
Right.
like 2018, I think,
Okay. So we're
around.
talking about the one with Shocks, with Kenny, with Apex, with Bodyy. That's the one.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I was watching a lot at the time, but before that, I was not watching that much. Even in 2017, when I started playing some hAdji matches, I was not watching a lot, and I was still like studying, so it was not a big thing in my mind. As my parents like it, I wanted to graduate from university.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, I didn't. So because of like went up to be professional,
Okay.
and yeah.
All right. And do you remember what was the culture like in the French scene? Because obviously, maybe you weren't following the professional scene too much, but there was a lot of big teams like Very Games at the very start of CSGO, obviously, then Titan, Envy, a lot of very, very good, some of the major winning lineups, obviously, that I guess were powering French culture. So when you were growing up, was there a, let's say, really developed LAN culture in your city? Was there a lot of smaller tournaments coming? Was there a lot of talent?
There was a lot of land culture, I think, in France. Even before me, a bigger land culture. When I started playing CS competitively, it was with friends, and I went to my first LAN in November 2016. So it was a long time ago. And since I think 2018, 19, we lost that kind of LAN culture in France, and even more with the COVID era that came and the online thing that so people started playing more online and offline was not a thing anymore. But yeah, I remember everyone was praising the LAN culture, and if you are getting good in French LAN, you could play with like better player.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember to be able to start playing with good players because I was suspected by some player to be cheating, even on LAN in France. In France, and I remember playing like some pickup games, like gathering games with
Mm-hmm.
the whole school names from Counter Strike Source or even Shocks, some people like that.
Okay. The moment that you say old school names from source, the reason, like for some reason, the name that pops in my mind is RPK. I'm just thinking RPK.
Oh yeah, not those names, but I was thinking about like Carol, for example,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, those kind of guys, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Will
Cairo, for the people that don't
Smith,
know, he was
yeah.
really good actually in Source, apparently. Now he's an insider slash streamer slash anything on social media, but he was a player at some point. Um, you mentioned university, which you didn't graduate, but I'm having that conversation with the majority of the, I guess, players that are a little bit more mature, and I'm just gonna go out and say it. Part of closer to my generation than the one that is 17, 18 right now. What did you study in university, and what did you want to pursue in life?
I study. If I say the French name, I would not be able to explain it, but it's like kind of economics, a little bit of law, and like social things. What
Okay,
is it? Yeah,
international relationships, something like that.
yeah. I think it's international business mostly. Yeah.
Okay, and did you like it, or was it something that you were going through because there was a little bit of family pressure? Was it all Counter Strike at all times?
No, I started playing Counter Strike super late in my life. Actually, I started playing Counter Strike when I went to university, so I was 18.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
I
a,
started playing super late. Super
That's a
late, yeah.
really interesting conversation. It actually opens up a door that I don't even have written down on the script. But what do you think about that? Because there isn't a lot of players that break through later on in their careers, and this was something that I was going to bring up later on. Because as we said, you are a newer name and face to the tier one biggest circuit if we're talking mainstream fan base, for
Sure.
example. But you are 28 and you have been playing Counter Strike for almost 10 years. So how does one make the decision to start playing CS that late? Was that something that you had to the back of your mind that you're starting when probably most of the guys that were your age back then were already showing potential to be professional players?
So when I started playing, I had no clue there was a professional scene on CS. I was just playing with friends, and the reason I started playing CS is because I injured myself at sports,
Okay.
on ankles and left knee, uh, like ligaments and all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to even study around like sports things, something called STAPS in France.
Okay.
and and I couldn't because of those injuries, and so I kept going to the economics thing because it was something I had in high school, and so yeah, just couldn't do anything like sport related at the time. I was kind of not in good shape in my life due to injuries, and I started playing like grinding CS a lot with friends and playing, and somehow I found myself to be good, and some people were saying, "Oh, you look good, and I want to play with you." Then another guy.
Okay, so what is your take on the fact that there's a lot of people that are saying you shouldn't be trying to go pro so late on? Like, do you think that worked out because it was a different time? Or imagine, let's say there is an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old French player listening, or just a kid listening to you right now that is just graduating high school, going into uni, and this person wants to become a professional player in Counter Strike. Would you encourage them to take the odds and give it a go even though they're 18, 19, and Donk at 17, 18 was already a major winner or an MVP or whatever? Do you think it's still possible to start at that late of an age and become a tier 1 player?
I think it is possible as long as you're enough. enough talented. You don't have like to be the biggest talent, but you have to trust yourself, put in the hours, and also find a good self-discipline to improve and not waste too much time. Because, as you say, when you getting older, you have what you like is time. It's not like reactions or whatever. You have more time when you're 18 than when you're 25, 26. And also you have more time when you're 15, 14 than when you're 19, 20 and you're going to into university and you have like this social pressure or family pressure about doing something in life, building something because everything starts from there. You go to university, you find your first job, maybe your first relationship. So it's really hard to deal with it. And I think what you have to do is believe in yourself, give it a try. But at the end, you have to be obsessed and passionate enough to go that far in this kind of thing. I think being able to break through at 27, 28 is like one of a kind. It's not given to everyone, and I was pretty much lucky to have those guys among my teams. In my team, I mean, because this is also part of the thing. I think it's not like another international lineup and like building and like picking up like young players and you go through. It's different. I think I had like a different road.
Okay. All right. I was just wondering because that is a really interesting topic to me as well. I feel like nowadays there was an argument between I think it was Boobski and Kassad on social media that you should know when to let
Yes,
go, you
I
know?
I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I instantly thought of that. And I was like, this is an interesting one because you started later on. Okay, now we can get into your professional career, and there's a lot of interesting things that I want to discuss about French Counter Strike. So first of all, biggest differences: French Counter Strike back then, French Counter Strike right now. You were, I guess, on the rise in 2017, 2018 when there was still, I would say, a bigger pool of talent in the French scene. Nowadays, you're looking at 2025, it's not quite the same, and it doesn't feel like there is as many young players coming out. Is that the way that you're looking at it as well? What do you think the reason is?
I think many people in France didn't think that way. That the one of the biggest reasons is that we suffered a lot between the top players, and we didn't give it a shot to the young talents, young guns. And I mean, when they gave a shot to the young talents, they were putting them in like the worst possible conditions to perform, and just trying to. It felt like from the outside perspective, it was they were trying to save their asses. I don't know how to say it, but
Okay.
kinda like that. When you see how body was used and devil was used, maybe there was like more than this, but felt like the French scene didn't use the young talents at the correct spots. I think.
Okay.
Also, it was different generation back then.
We're
So
talking just to clarify for everyone watching, we are talking about the time when Body and Devil, that's around 2018 when Body got picked up from that for that star team of G2. They were the young talents breaking through the scene. That's how long ago we're talking.
yeah.
When Body was still a youngster. Do you feel like this was the reason that a lot of the younger guys got discouraged, and because the older guard, let's say, wanted to stay around for a little bit longer, and some of the legends wanted to make sure that they have teams. That is the reason that a lot of the young guys that had potential didn't even pursue professional Counter Strike, and maybe we've missed out on talents. Like, is 2025 and the current state of French Counter Strike the product of all of that? Is that how you feel?
I think it's part of it. It's not like only that. It's
Mm-hmm.
also the fact that we don't have a lot of like esport clubs that put the money into CS, and so the scene doesn't stay professional for a long time.
Okay.
We had the chance to have LGLC for a long time, so we could expect sometimes to break through from LGLC. And when you're in France, as you mentioned, the topic between Kassad and Bobski, Boopski mentioned something that is really important. Is like it's not every country that have the same wages, and in France, you have to get a lot of money to be able to live. And some people, I think, they were discouraged by not being able to have a shot at the higher level, and also at the same time the money pressure and the wages pressure in France that you have to make money to to be able to live your dreams or live simply living.
Mm-hmm. Just the normal cost of life. And do you
Yeah.
think, just to end that topic, I guess on a positive note, do you feel like now there is a couple more French talents? Is there any players as of right now? And I know we're jumping back and forward in time, but as we're on the topic about talent, is there some exciting French players that you think could make it pro? And just to open up a bit of a parenthesis on this one, you can't say Naitu, for example, because he's already playing high CS. You can't say Gravity because he's on your team and he's played tier 1 CS. So do you think there's some exciting youngsters right now? Do you feel like maybe the scene could heal in France?
It's not something I'm watching anymore like before.
Okay.
Uh, I think beside Nechu, I was thinking about Cursey, but Cursey made it through Gamer Legion.
Yeah.
And even though we know the ending he has with Gamer Legion, I'm pretty sure he's talented, and he's been for a long time. I know him, and I'm sure he's talented in many ways. Beside those two names, and I won't mention Gravity because he's in my team. He's now been his first year in
Yeah.
Tier 1 CS. I don't think of anyone. There's maybe I should check on Faceit if there's like French players playing a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think we got that talent in France that can show up.
Okay. Well, hopefully there's going to be a little bit more motivation coming in from the fact that you guys are permanently part of the bigger circuit, and obviously what Zywo and AWPer are doing. And now the Gentlemates have joined Counter-Strike with a Spanish
Yeah.
team, shockingly. But we're not here to talk about that. So back to the start of your professional career, because we opened up a bit of a tangent, but this is a good sign that there's a lot of things to talk about. So one of the main things that I wanted to point out, you started your career with, by the way, excellent a couple teams that were named Dislaun and Nobo. That was back in 2017, 2018. One thing that I noticed at the early stages of your career, first of all, just to clarify, you've always been an AWPer. You started as an AWPer in professional Counter Strike. I wanted to ask you, were you always the in game leader of your teams?
Most of the time, yes, I was the in-game leader. If I was not, I was a big part of the tactical part of the team.
Mm-hmm.
But the way CS works now was not the same CS that was working in 2017-18. We are not professional like Tier 1 players, and so it was a little bit a faced LAN, kinda FPL LAN when
Okay.
we were playing. I remember when we used to play in this lone Nobo, as you mentioned, and also going to 3D Max after that with David P, Lucky. Uh, I was supposed to be the AGL, but I didn't want to because I was the AGL in the prior teams in French scene, and I decided to play only the Hope. And David P was picking up the AGL role, but it was not a real AGL. We were calling like kind of 50-50. And as you mentioned, I've always been an AWPer, but I've not always played as an AWPer in my teams. In
Okay.
Dislon and Nobo, when I joined them, I was playing rifle and anchor's position because there was another guy playing the op role, and for the fact for he had to drop from CS because he was having like a lot of family pressure, and he was supposed to finish his studies.
Mm-hmm.
His name was Adlan,
Okay.
Adlane, and so I took his spot when he left the team. And in Limitless, I was also not playing only AWPer because there
Okay.
was like Loki who was also an AWPer, and I was we were sharing the IGL thing also, like on some maps, on some seasides and etc.
Okay, but do you feel like you've always been in your life someone that is the type of a leader person? Is that why you have an affinity for the open being an IGL? Have you always been an opinionated guy that wants to be heard and has a really strong, I guess, idea on how the game is approached, or was it just a coincidence that you ended up being an oper and an IGL occasionally on a lot of teams?
I think it's half of it and half of this. I've always been a creative guy and inspired guy to bring new things, bring things to the team on table and be heard, like as you said, and have my opinions on certain things that I want to be trusted on. And I think that brought me in that spot also because I was maybe unconsciously inspired by Faun. Because it
Okay.
was the Opera AGL back then that was
Yeah, for
working, and
luminosity. Yeah.
yeah, so I was maybe a little bit inspired unconsciously because it was working for him, and I always felt like I was bringing something good on the table, on a tactical point of view, and I wanted to keep it for my teams. The French scene also like of IGLs. We know how much we liked of IGLs in the French scene,
Mm-hmm.
and that's also something that made me that maybe play the IGL role. You can see Apex took the IGL role. Nobody was
Yeah.
expecting him to do it back then. Today is probably the best IGL in the world on this year, but I think we really like of this IGL construction in the French scene.
Okay, this is an interesting one. I was literally Apex, I think, is the best example ever because I do remember the moment when he did transition on Vitality and everyone was really surprised. One name that I noticed has been a reoccurring topic throughout your entire career, and I didn't actually realize that you started playing with Lucky so early in your career. You've basically spent your entire career with him. You've basically been together for
Yeah.
7 years with some pretty short pauses every now and then. But I don't know if you know the number. It's a really good round number, so I wrote it down to say it to you. You've played 1,230 maps on HOTV with Lucky together,
Whoa.
which is a lot. That's more than a lot of players have in their entire career. You've played that amount together. So talk to me a little bit about your professional path with Lucky, the relationship there. Why have you spent so much time on teams? What do you like about him? What you dislike about him? What are the things that he's improved on and changed in since you started playing in 2017, 2018?
So obviously back then, like he was like a really big talented guy in the French scene. He was grinding a lot in Ranked. For those who don't know, Ranked is like
Yeah.
FPL for ESEA. There was a lot of money and many people were playing it.
Yeah, the
He was
difference was
grinding
you
a
could
lot.
play on just like a couple days every week, right? You couldn't play every day like
Yeah,
FPL, and then you play like 4 games, and if you win them, you get that like 1,000 euros or something,
yeah, it was that. And I think Lucky won a lot of money
right?
in the Ranked. And also it helped him to play with better player. He was playing with Amanek and Devodivek at that time. And then we played together, and yeah, I think first you can deny talents help to play with other talents. He was talented. I was also a young French prospect for the French scene, and so we played together. And he's always been what I like with him. He's always been a bit shy, I would say. But when he expresses himself, he's like really um how to say, he's right. When he says
Okay,
something, it's very
on the spot.
if on the spot. Yeah,
Okay,
exactly. And that's what I like about him. Growing up with him, he changed a lot. Obviously, it's been so much time we play together, and I think today, as experienced as he is in life and also in CS, he is a really important balance for the team. Not only this one, but also the one pure prior to this one. He was bringing calm and some kind of composure you don't always have in hot moments.
okay,
Uh, he's that kind of guy with looks emotionless because he doesn't show a lot of emotions when he play, but in fact he's really like into the games, and he's not going to steal your your spotlight, either through the vocals in the voice comms or into the game. He found also his balance to know when to bring something important to the team and also when to let someone bring his thing to the team.
All right.
And that's what I like about him. He's really mature in many aspects of this.
Okay, it's interesting. I'm asking this because there's been throughout the last 10 years, let's say, there's been a couple different iterations. So you know how there was you who were on the part of or on the par on the side of Heretics, Falcons. Then there was
Yeah,
Body with all the other guys from Double Pony that were playing with Afro, and then you kind of mixed it up. But you and Lucky oftentimes were on the same side of things. It felt
yeah,
like so there's always been a really good connection there. And I'm just giving you a little bit of a heads up for the sake of this show and everyone watching. You've played with so many different people from the French scene that I'm interested in. So get ready because I'm asking about
yeah.
your opinion on a lot of them. But then you play together. After this Lounge and Noble, 3D Max was the first, I want to say, proper organization that you played on. I'm correct in stating so, right?
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
so 3D Max was at this point already a really established name, right? They had some strong lineups at the start of CSGO as well, different nationalities too. It hasn't always been only French. So, talk to me a little bit about the moment when you joined that organization, obviously, with a lot of the guys that you were playing with before that. But did it feel like anything changed? How professional was it pretty much back then when you joined 3D Max in comparison to now?
Whoa, yeah, it's really different. When you joined 3D Max back then, it was just being able to live of what you do. It's not the same as it is now. Even I think for some tier 2 to 3 pro teams, it's a lot more established now than it was
Mm-hmm.
back then. But at that time, we were super happy to join 3D Max. We got the shot because we qualified to the our first minor in London,
Okay.
and
That was for the Face It Major, right? In 2018.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. And it's I think it's like a lot of circumstances and a lot of luck, I would say, because I was playing in Limitless. You didn't mention, but before Nobo, I was playing in Limitless.
Oh yeah.
We made it through the WESG tournaments,
Hmm.
and we disbanded because we had a lot of issues and etc. And when I joined Nobo, this one Nobo, we made the minor qualifications, and we didn't qualify actually. We were one spot close to being able to qualify, but a team couldn't qualify to the minor, so we took their spot at the last minute.
Right.
So when that happened, we had the contact with 3D Max and we joined 3D Max instantly. And also we made the change at this moment. We picked up Jax, I think. Yeah, it was at this moment we picked up Jax, who was doing really good in the French scene for a long time, like in the sub-tier scene. But it was just about the money and nothing special like it is today, like coaching, manager, or being able to have some education on how to be the best professional athlete possible.
Hmm. All right. That's
And
an interesting one. You point out minors. How did you find that? Are you one of the people that misses those? Because I've talked to a lot of the players, and it seems like I'm yet to actually speak to a player that has played a minor. And bear with me. I'm not talking RMRs. I'm talking minors when they were still called minors.
yeah.
There isn't a single player I've talked to about minors that tells me they don't miss it. Everyone misses minors. Was it really that fun? Was it really that great to be part of minors?
Yeah, it was different atmosphere. I think this was the only one I played because I couldn't qualify for another one. But it was something special. It's not like RMRs and felt like a small major. I don't know how to say, but you knew there was something on the line that was really important. And we don't even talk about stickers or whatever. At that time, it was just like being proud to show up your name in the game. Yeah, you could feel it was something different than Aramos. Even though Aramos was really stressful, I'm not gonna lie. It was really stressful, but minor was exciting as well.
Okay, we're gonna get to the RMRs. Don't worry, we're gonna get to that 3-0 in Shanghai. Then another one, because you, as we said, you've been through a lot of different iterations of teams and a lot of different organizations. Then you went on to play on Heretics, and you played on Heretics with Python, with wasiNk, who ended up becoming your coach, and you played with kioShima. That was and kioShima is someone that I just realized that I'm getting older now, because I feel like for me, you're not watching Counter-Strike if you don't know who kioShima is. I can guarantee you there's fans nowadays that don't know who kioShima is. At this point,
Yeah,
some of the kids.
that's crazy.
But Kyo is a legend of the French scene, and obviously he played a
Sure.
little bit of international Counter-Strike as well. But he is a major winner. How was it playing with kioShima back then? That was I'd say that was a little bit past his prime already. That was towards the latter stages of his career. But yeah, talk to me a little bit about playing with one of the I want to say one of the most famous names in the French scene, because I think that was the first time I actually played with someone that was coming in from the tier 1 circuit, right?
Yeah, sure. I was very excited when kioShima joined the team. Actually, it was joining thanks to Lucky because they played in G2 when kioShima stand
Yeah.
in New York. Yeah, and Lucky and kioShima shared the same room at that time, and they really liked each other. So when with Heretics, we decided to pick Lucky. Lucky also had it that he wanted to play with kioShima, so we picked them both. And as you mentioned, it was at the end of his career, and you could feel he lost that sparkling. I don't know how he was working back then, but he was not playing anymore for CS as he was probably used to.
Mm-hmm.
He won so much. I think for the people who doesn't know, he won 2 majors. So at that point, when you won 2 major, you played for G2, you played for NGOs, you played for
Face.
FaZe.
Yeah.
You maybe you probably made a lot of money and you probably lost the reason why you used to play CS. And
Mm-hmm.
I think he was really excited to play with Heretics, but when the COVID era hit the team, he lost all the motivation, and you could feel he was really experienced guy and a really calm guy. As lucky, I would say, he was
Mm-hmm.
bringing like some composure in the team.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. COVID. I'm glad you mentioned that. By the way, this is an interesting topic. You know what? We're gonna go on another really quick tangent. Do you see yourself as that type of a player that would one day, and obviously I wish you that, but you have been part of the bigger circuit. But let's say you win some big events, you earn that money, as you pointed out about Keel. Do you see yourself as that type of a player that would maybe lose a little bit of their drive the moment that they earn a little bit? How do you think one I guess immunizes themselves from losing that drive the moment that they start earning a really decent living?
Uh, as every like topics like this, we always say no, I think, but you never know until you make it.
Okay.
And but I think as obsessed as I am in life and about CS and about competition, like competitiveness is driving me a lot in my life since I'm a kid, and I don't think I will lose that drive even getting older or getting more money thanks to CS. I think even if I start losing that drive, I would probably go crazier than what I am today because as I am so obsessed with getting better against like further, I think sometimes it drives me really crazy.
Okay. Well, you know what? This is the good type of crazy. The thing is you can never be an outcast when you say you're crazy about Counter Strike on this show, because I mean
Yeah, sure.
it's those are the people that I'm inviting here. This is the type of vibe that we're rocking with. So you did play on LDOC a little bit after that. LDOC is obviously another one of the legendary French names, but I guess representing this org did mean something. One of the particular people that you played alongside with on LDOC I'm interested in, and that is Lambert, Coach Lambert now on
Yeah,
OG, because again, he's one of those guys that a lot of the people would know just because of his coaching career. But Lambert did play for a long time before that professionally. So, what do you think about the way that his career has developed? Was that a case of him being? Because I realized that I didn't know a lot about Lambert back then, even though I think he was really active in playing lower tier Counter Strike. But were you the IGL when you were playing with Lambert, or was he an in-game
oh,
leader?
yeah, he was the game leader
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay. So what was he like as an IGL? Was he a really smart type of person? Was he someone that you're looking at and you're saying this guy will become a coach? Just talk to me about him as a person.
You could see he was kind of that figure in the team.
Okay.
He was older, obviously, and he had that maturity in life that would bring something to the table. And for sure, I think many people in the French knew he would translate all the thing he learned as a player into coaching. Because yeah, you could feel he could be a coach. Also, the thing is, I think he lacked of individual success and talent because he was hoping, I think, at some point in his career, and the way CS was going and how fast CS was growing, he kind of lost um, his sharpness with the hope, and he started to play as a rifle like gel, and he was not a good rifle.
Mm-hmm.
I think some people who saw the matches and knows how Lambert was lacking in terms of individual skills with the rifle.
Okay.
And yeah, if he was a little bit individually better, he would have made through the top 30 in the world, I think, with his teams, but he couldn't. I think he's really smart. He was learning a lot about the meta, and he was grinding a lot the demos. He liked it, but I would not say he's the smartest guy I've seen playing and or whatever. But he had he was really methodical, and he was working very properly and a lot as Nigel,
Okay.
and he was a captain figure because
Mm-hmm.
he was not uh, he was not doing something wrong as a captain.
Okay.
To me.
He's doing really well for himself now. I think he's built
Yeah,
a really good team with OG, with Crizzen, working with a new IGL, and
yeah,
they are playing some good Counter Strike. So that was one that I wanted to ask you about. And then we're going into the really interesting part of your career, slowly but surely. This is the part where, as I like calling it, this is the ultimate beginning of the French shuffle. This is where you just play on a new team or a new name every 6 months. So
yeah.
we've got Akimbo. You play two best of threes. Then Falcons come around. Then you're playing with Misuta and MBK. Then Falcons go away. Then you join Heat. Then you don't play for 6 months, or for 6 months you have no work. And then 3D Max comes in again in November 30th, 2023. So talk to me a little bit about that time period, because this is a span of, let's say, 2 to 3 years where there's constant shuffles. It doesn't really feel like you're sticking on the same core. Even if there's a couple guys that are moving alongside you, there's always some changes on the lineups from an org to another one or to an orgless team. So from your perspective, how did those couple of years feel?
It was a rough time, I think. Uh, Not talking about the shuffles, only the shuffles, but it was a rough time, and I think having those kind of shuffles didn't help because you can't cement yourself onto something, and I think that quite helps a lot in life to surround yourself with good people and be able to trust what you do.
Okay.
Something that drives me a lot in life is like trust the process, and you can trust the process if it'll only last 4 months or 6 months.
Yeah.
Like a real process takes much longer, and I think when he post Heretics, when he started to get into that era of my career, like shuffling, it really went bad in my mind because you like results. That's the reason why you shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
And when you like results and you shuffle, you lack confidence in what you are building and what you're trying to do in life. So it was not the best period.
And how do you deal with that when you're a player and you're in that position? What are the things that you say to yourself and the way that you, I guess, think about life? The reason I think is really interesting for you to give that answer is because that happened not too long ago. That happened for you like 3 years ago. So
Yeah.
you were in the middle of your 20s. You weren't a teenager. You weren't early 20s. You were 25-ish, let's say. So does it hit a little bit harder when you're just thinking about, because you said obviously you still live in France. There's that aspect of, am I earning enough? Am I fulfilling my potential, considering I'm growing up and there's no stability? How does one deal with all of those thoughts, and were those things that were going through your mind back then?
Yeah, it was clearly affecting me. This way, I was like thinking, am I going to break through? Is it my limit? Is it the only way I can do? Is this the only thing I can do in CS? I was
Mhm.
like really disappointed about myself, and also when you get into those spots and you believe a lot in yourself, you kind of try to like have some arguments in your mind, like it's not only your fault, it's also like other people's fault. You don't you try to put the blame on other people, but in the end, growing up, I think this is the worst way to improve and to go further in competitiveness,
Mhm.
because even if you know the things you have to improve, there's so much room to improve in CS in life, that you maybe lack the small details that will help you to get more stability in your teams. Maybe because if you have that talk, if you have that little more thing to bring to the table, maybe the shuffle would not happen. Maybe the result would be different. As we know, how CS is hard. I remember in LGS we had some games losing to important games to like 1 round, 2 rounds. Maybe it's just the work you put in, the all the hours you put in the team, maybe the talks, maybe anything technically that could have helped to get those 2 rounds. But you live in the moment, so you just see the 2 rounds and you're like, fuck, why did I pick? Why did my didn't give this communication at that moment? But maybe you're lacking something and you don't view that aspect at this moment. So yeah, I think what helped me is reading a lot, having more stability in my life, to get in the best mentality possible and the best mental shape.
Mhm.
Um, that helped me a lot. And if I have to say to people who struggle a lot, I think if you do the same thing over again and over again, and nothing changes, nothing's going to change. It's like this to me.
Okay, I think the saying was, it's silly to expect a different outcome when you're doing the same thing, right?
Yeah, Einstein. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, if he says it, then apparently there is a little bit of truth behind those words. Then before we get into you joining the dark side, I'll tell you why I'm framing it the dark side. There was someone else that you were playing with for a long time, and that was hAdji. Now, the one thing that I want to ask you about when it comes down to hAdji is, and I'm gonna frame that question in a really simple way: why the hell couldn't hAdji stay on a team for more than 3 months at a single point of his career? And I might be exaggerating. Maybe someone's going to come out and say,
yeah,
well, he was actually on this team for 4 months or 5 months or whatever. You know what I mean? hAdji's one of,
yeah.
one,
Sure.
one of those players that you open their HOTV teams page and there's every single organization that exists in Counter-Strike. Maybe he's played there for just for just half a day. Maybe he was just an intern. Maybe he was there to do the laundry. He was there for whatever reason. Why
Uh,
was hAdji not able to stay on the team for a longer time? Because he was a really cracked individual.
yeah, it was definitely. Well, I was checking. Yeah, I was not expecting to see that many names on HTV on
I,
this page.
I'm telling you, man. I was thinking how I was gonna phrase that question was I was gonna open up the list and I was gonna ask you about some teams, and then I was like, there's no point because there's just so many of them. Just for reference, because people might be wondering, if you were to open it, the number says 19 on HLTV, and mind you, this is not probably telling the full story, but this is a lot of different teams. So yeah, why couldn't
Yeah,
hAdji stay on a team?
I think Aj is a very he has a very special personality.
Okay.
Uh, as a player first, because as a teammate, as a player, I think is really different to what you expect from a teammate or from someone you try to work with. I think is part of what I just said is that silly guy doing the same thing over and over again and
Right.
expecting a different result. Uh, there's been sometimes like he's trying to change himself for a couple of weeks, but he doesn't have the discipline or the proper mindset to really dive deep into it. You know, he
Okay.
thinks something, he say, "Oh yeah, I have to change something. I have to do it for I don't know." After many discussions, chatting with the teammates, he says, "Okay, I have to change this. I have to do this." It really doesn't dive deep into it, and he stays consistent for 2 weeks, and then the further weeks he came back to his whole personality and whole way of being, you know.
All right.
And talent-wise, he's insanely talented, I can say. At the start of CS2, when he was playing with us in looking for org before we signed in 3D Max,
Yeah.
God, he was really, really insane. And I think he knows it. At some point, he knows he can bring a lot of firepower on the table. So he wants to be in the positions to be the star player, but at the same time, as I mentioned for Lucky knows when he has to be into the spotlight and when he has to leave the spotlight to others.
Right.
I think hAdji doesn't know this, for example,
Okay.
and I think that's what he was lacking in his whole career, and I think he was not surrounded by good people or good atmosphere when he was playing in the international scene. So
Hmm.
he lived a different time. Back
Okay.
then, when you played CS, HLTV rating was so much a thing. Oh yeah, I have a good rating at HLTV. I'm going to get picked up by a better team. I think he was thinking a lot that way a long time ago.
Okay. Okay. That's a satisfactory enough answer. Then we're going into the part where you join the dark side. And by the dark side, I obviously mean Heat
About
with
Poney, yeah.
yes, with Lucky, with Djoko, with Exorcist. That's about the time when Afro got picked up by Fnatic as well. So there was a bit of a gap. And you go in there. French teams trading players, trading opers is the good old classic. Uh, how did it feel? How did it feel? Obviously, you knew Lucky already, but with some of the other guys you were playing for the first time, and this is, I think, a rarity for French Counter Strike to have the chance to join a team where you haven't played with everyone before. So how was it different? How was the dynamic different? Did you feel like you were joining the opposing side?
Yeah, you can definitely say it. It was something different in the LDLC against Double Pony. There are
Yeah.
Falcons against Double Pony hits. It was always the blue side and the red side. And as I was on one side, we were always like just like in any team trash talking a lot about them. But they were good guys. I know it. I played Lucky for a long time. I knew Djoko for a long, long time, and didn't know the other guys. I mean, Exercise. I didn't know him a lot. Afro neither, and Bodyy was just that big superstar that was playing in the sub-tier French scene first. Also, yeah. When I joined them, I was not in the best moments in my life because I was benched from Falcons and I was really like determined to prove them that it was the wrong choice to do
Mhm.
it. And so I joined the dark side because of it.
Okay, and you did play without an organization after you joined them
Yeah,
for a pretty long time before obviously 3D Max came to the rescue in November of 2023, and obviously that was a different version of 3D Max that is right now. There was a lot of things going around with the org, but it was still some stability. Um, how do you keep your motivation up, I guess, and how was playing together like during that time when you guys had no work? Because for anyone that's forgotten, you actually had some decent results. It wasn't like you were in a crisis result wise. You were playing well, you were playing a lot of tournaments, but there was no financial support from an organization. So was it just you guys saying we're gonna power through this and we're gonna be patient enough? Did you have, let's say, a time frame for, okay, we're gonna give ourselves, let's say, 1 year to play together, and if we don't find an organization, then it's a free for all and everyone just tries to find something for themselves?
Yeah, I think we were not at the same moments in life. Exercise was younger, like he just uh, was going through G2 Heretics. He had like some bank money, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Djoko was just breaking through the CS French scene, so for him it was really important to learn something from CS because he was working in some really hard jobs in life before this.
Okay.
So yeah, we set ourselves until the end of 2023. We have to do something about what we do, and 3D Max came to the rescue, as you said, and yeah, it was really tough because you don't know how long you're gonna stay like that. And I think what helped us a lot was killazoo joining in. Actually, killazoo, the assistant coach of OG, for those who don't know, is the assistant coach of Lambert, and he was coaching us
Yeah.
for almost a year at that time. And when he joined, he was also really eager to develop himself in the coaching scene,
Okay.
and yet he did. I think he really helped us a lot because he brought some discipline and some working aspect we liked in the team. And when you bring something new to the table, it brings a new fire, new energy to the team. And I think CS2 helped a lot because, as I said, when there's something new on the table, you put more hours, put more energy into it.
Do you feel like CS2 fit the style of French Counter Strike a little bit more than CS:GO? Because you guys have always liked to run around like madman around the map. Do you feel like CS2 actually made you better?
It's hard to say.
Although you are an AWPer, so technically for you it should be
Yeah.
more difficult.
I think as an AWPer it's more difficult, yeah, definitely. But as I'm good, I put myself as a really good rifle player. I would say it helped me a lot in some situations, and also for the way I wanted to IGL, it helped me a lot because I like to play fast-paced CS and also really dynamic CS on both sides, and yeah, definitely CS2 helps so much. And Donk helped us a lot. The way he showed people to how to play CS2. You're like, oh yeah, we can run and gun. Like, let's do it. And I think this is something, as you mentioned, we were running and gunning like crazy madmen.
I am glad you mentioned killazoo, and by the way, the fact that he helped you with discipline, because that joins in, and I'm not saying this one on a random right now, with the running and gunning, because I think another thing that the French scene has always struggled with, and obviously you can correct me if you feel like I'm wrong, I feel like has been in-game discipline. I think as much as you guys like running around and it's really entertaining and it's nice and you're having fun, a lot of times you've seen French teams over the last couple of years, some of them you've been part of, lose a lot of games and rounds because of lost composure and maybe underestimating the opponent, maybe individual overpeaks and stuff like that. Was that one of the main things that you think teams were struggling with, including some of your teams back in the day? And was killazoo actually the one that started that process, at least for your team, to try and fight all of that?
I think killazoo didn't have that experience to help us improve in every important discipline aspect of CS. Like I
Okay.
mean, technically. But when you have something that can talk his CS and see what we do wrong, it helped us a lot. And also, yeah, when I mention discipline, it's not only like technically, it's also uh, in the working thing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you have to work properly, you have to communicate properly between the teammates. You have to do everything right to maintain the good atmosphere and the good environment to perform because in the end, to be able to perform at your best, you have to create the best atmosphere possible.
Mm-hmm.
This is what he helped us a lot. He was a really great human being, really great into linking each other. It was a great link into the team.
Okay. Okay. Going forward, who did the scouting work and the pickup of Gravity? How was Gravity chosen to be added to this team? Because I think that was at a time when a lot of people were thinking that you guys maybe needed a little bit of spark. Did you feel like that? And was that the reason that you decided to go and pick up someone a lot younger?
So yeah, it was not done like we have to pick someone in the way that we put hAdji out and we put Gravity in. Actually, hAdji left the team on his own.
Okay.
Yeah, he was not feeling good in the team. Had a lot of arguments with him, especially me, as I was the AGL, and he decided to leave on his own. Like suddenly, like from one day to another, he said, "I'm done. I'm not playing anymore for this team."
Mm-hmm.
So he left. I think at that time he was good at CS too, especially like at the end of 2023. And Monty was really good with the last Paris major they made, and they made an offer to him. So he was really excited to play with an international lineup. So I think when he left, he was expecting for Monty to ask him again. And so we had like only 2-3 names in the French scene to pick. I think it was Nechu, Mizuta, and Gravity. And Gravity was actually the last option of those 3 names.
Okay.
We wanted Nechu, but he was in Ants Academy, I think.
Mouse.
Mouse Academy, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Mouse Academy, sorry. Mouse Academy, Mouse NXT, yeah, I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Mouse NXT and Mizuta was just benched from somewhere, I think. But I think he was not contractless, so we couldn't buy him out. And Gravity was almost free. Was playing for Gen 1,
Yeah.
the team from Cairo, and so we picked him. We knew it was a good addition, but we needed more than this. And killazoo at the same time when hAdji left, he received an offer from OG to be the assistant coach of Lambert. So it was really painful to lose killazoo at that time, and then we picked up wasiNk as our new coach in addition with Gravity.
Okay, and what were your first impressions of both Gravity as a player and wasiNk as a coach? Because wasiNk obviously is someone that you had played with previously in your career, so you already know him. But what was the dynamic like between you two?
For wasiNk, I've never really played with him in my career. It's just he came into stand-in with Heretics.
Right, yeah,
Uh,
because that's
yeah,
literally the games that I opened were apparently the ones that he was standing in, because they were the
yeah,
last ones that you were playing on Heretics, and he was on the lineup.
yeah. He was he was having trials in Heretics, but he was not good enough to be part of the project at the time. So yeah, I know him for a long time. Even before Heretics, I know him because we were kind of the same French cluster, I would say. Yeah, French cluster. Yeah. Same players, and we knew wasiNk and Gravity would bring something different and new to the team that,
Mm-hmm.
for example, killazoo didn't have, like craziness, energy, hype, and all that kind of stuff. And wasiNk was, I think it was like technically CS wise good. He was thinking a lot about CS, about it technically,
Mm-hmm.
tactically. He was that creative guy that always wanted to bring something new, something dynamic to the table. And yeah, first impression was really good. Actually, Racing was different than killazoo. We was a bit more of I would say uh, tactical coach. He was grabbing people, like, okay, you have to do this, you're doing this wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it was going straight, and it was not wasting time, and it was telling people straight,
Very
bro,
blunt and
why,
practical.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And Skilazoo was more of I said he was a great human being, and was more of like gentle guy. He
Mm-hmm.
was not always saying the thing in. It was never mean. He was never saying like things straight
Mm-hmm.
like wasiNk. And Gravity, as many people know him, he has that fire in him. He was young at that moment. I mean, he's still young, but at that moment he was really excited to join us, and he wanted to prove he could be part of this team, and yeah, he was bringing a lot of energy and hype to the team. And when there's something new, you do even more and try to do better for all of us. We really tried.
Okay. Ever since the addition of wasiNk and Gravity, and there's a couple points that you made about both of them that I'm gonna get back into, but because there is more things to say about both of them later on. 2024 ended up being one of the most successful years for you guys, right?
Yeah,
LAN wise, especially. You won the Sky Sports Championship. You were third at Thunder Pick, and you went to that Pro League season 19 when you were able to make it out of groups, and you went into the playoffs after taking down both Soul and Fnatic. So. Talk to me a little bit about Lancias, because I've noticed one thing, and that is one thing with you specifically. In 2024, for a certain period of time, it felt like the events that you were playing well in, you guys were able to make it into the playoffs, and you guys were able to win, and you guys were able to be in the contest for even winning some of the tournaments, especially when the top teams were not there. I mean, the top 5 teams, let's say. And you were able to be pretty consistent at those events. Do you find it easier to play well when you're on LAN and you're playing against better opposition yourself personally?
yeah. Obviously, it's something that drives us a lot. I mean, at least for me, it drives me a lot to play against better positions. I think it's like this for any competitive game or even sports. I would
Mhm.
say we see a lot of worst team being able to upset better teams because I think in both ways the better opposition and lack of discipline to play against the worst opposition, and the other way the worst opposition give it like 1,000% to win the games. And I think this is something we had that little hype energy in those kind of games, and we are able to show some great results on 2024.
Okay.
And yeah,
You go into the RMR as well, and the RMR for the major, that was the first major that you qualified for. You dropped your best LAN performance ever. This is your highest LAN.
yeah,
It's a 140 over 5 maps, obviously, but you did go 3-0, so you couldn't play more than 5 maps because you won everything pretty much. You just lost one map against G2 in that 2-0 game. Talk to me a little bit about that event. How did it feel? What was the I guess I don't know. What was the first thing that went through your mind the moment that you qualified for your first major? Because again, as we said, you were through a couple tough years in your career. You're not 21 or 22. You're in the second part of your 20s, and now you're qualifying for your first major. Did it feel like it was finally everything was coming into one place for you? And what was different about that event?
well, it was something special. Uh, I think I had so much emotions that I couldn't even describe any and show any emotions. I think some people cried at that moment. Some people were full of joy, and I was almost empty. I don't know. It's like, I mean, at the very moment we qualified, I was like, "Is this really happening?" Like, because of the way we did it, being able to go 3-0, it
Yeah.
was like no way we struggled for so many RMRs. I struggled for many majors to qualify, close qualifier, whatever. And suddenly you do it in the best way possible, and you beat the best team possible at that moment because they won 2 back-to-back events at that time. I think they won the Blaster World Finals or something like that in Singapore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was crazy. I don't know. It was something special, and the emotions came down couple days and weeks after.
All right, that was it was a really fun one. Obviously, you guys at the major itself couldn't make it into the playoffs, but you were still playing Counter Strike, and I feel like that entire year was an upward trajectory for you. But then we go to the part where at the start of 2025, you decided to add bodyy to the mix and remove Djoko. So can you tell me a little bit about that move? Why was the decision made? How did it come down to you picking up bodyy and deciding that Joko's not deserving of a place on the team anymore, I guess?
So yeah, it was a rough decision to make. I was not part of it. I was just told that bodyy would change would be added instead of Djoko. It was hard because we built something for 2 years with Djoko, Exercise, and Lucky, and also they built something during more than 2 years with Double Pony to qualify to Major, and finally we do it, and we put ourselves in the German scene and play lands, and it felt like it was also his dream for Djoko to play a Major, but also playing a year of Tier 1 competitiveness CS. And as a result of the 2024 year, that was probably the best year, but also we saw some way we struggled. I think the coaching staff and the manager decided to bring more experience, so bodyy, and also leave Djoko on the bench because he was the one that was maybe improving less among the five of us.
Okay.
And yeah, it was really tough. As a human, he was a really great human, and we recreated something like memories, and also we made it all together. And I think for exercise, gravity, lucky, everyone, it was really tough to accept this because we were not part of this discussion. You know, it happened suddenly right after Katowice. The decision was made before Katowice, but it happened right after Katowice. You know, when someone is 28, as you mentioned, it's like the end of his career almost. It was maybe sending Djoko to the end of his career, so it was tough to see that.
That is an interesting perspective because I'm not sure if we knew before that, if anyone knew that this was not actually a team decision. Uh, did it make it more difficult for you guys to accept? Because at this point, I've seen you at multiple events, and obviously the team is doing well, and it does feel like you're in great relationships with bodyy, and we don't want it to make sound like you didn't necessarily want bodyy on the team. We're throwing
Yeah,
focus on the fact that you had a really good relationship with Djoko, but did that entire situation with how he was removed from the team make it a little bit more difficult to accept that you will have to play with a different guy at the start?
I think inconsistently, yes. Obviously, I even told bodyy I wanted to play with him for so many years, but we couldn't,
Mm-hmm.
and now we make it happen. But at the same time, I didn't want him at that moment instead of Djoko. I remember having this discussion with him, but when he showed what he could bring to the team, if I had to make this decision, I would do it.
Okay.
But beforehand, before knowing what he could bring to the team, you kind of bet onto something. You don't know because he goes out from Fnatic in the really bad shape because he was in-game leading and playing internationally. So you don't know if you find the body at his best shape possible, as he was, for example, in the French Falcons team.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of rough. But I love body. You've probably seen us. Yeah, I hang out a lot with him in lands and etc. He's also a great human being. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it is what it is. I'm so into human thing that I've seen myself in Djoko's shoes, and I was like, this is really tough to endure. You know.
Okay. Could you say what are the main things that you think bodyy contributed to the team with? Considering that he came in as someone that wasn't in game leader, but he came in into 3D Max in the quote unquote with the quote unquote task to be the star and be one of the best mechanical players on the team.
I think lately it showed a lot more. He's bringing like individual stats that I think he can maintain. Secondly, I would say he brings experience, and as experience I mean vocals.
Mm-hmm.
He's very vocal in the game. He speaks and talks a lot. Sometimes a little bit too much, but it is what it is when you bring
Okay.
someone vocal to the team. So in some way he challenged really a lot of opinions in the team because he has his own. He was in the in-game leader of Fnatic and Double Pony and etc. So yeah, he had to obviously challenge also me, and also the other players in some aspects. And I think that contributes a lot when you are able to marry things and not make it clash, and have the good discussions in the good ways. And even if it happens sometimes, you go into clashes and you disagree on some things, and
Hmm.
you're able to come back to say, okay, you're you're probably right about that. We have to find a good compromise about this. I think that's when the team starts to improve in the aspects you like, you know. And I think that he helps us a lot on that aspect about challenging everyone.
Okay. Okay. This is a satisfactory one. Then you did mention that wasiNk was a lot more blunt and direct with the feedback that he was giving to everyone. Was that one of the reasons that the replacement comes in and steps in as the new coach? Because you were still the in-game leader at that point in time, and I assume that this means that you had somewhat of a say in the matter. So yeah, what led to wasiNk leaving the team? Coming in. How would you compare the two of them as coaches? What do you think that is bringing to the table?
Um, yeah, so I think wasiNk was not kicked out of the team for this reason. There's many reasons. I think, as I mentioned, Body was challenging a lot into the team, and me first, and also the coaching point of view. And we had like 3 different coaches in the team at that moment. We had wasiNk, but also in a different aspect, we had Malek, the whole G2 coach,
Okay.
who was helping us on more on for some mental aspects than CS aspects. But it was like a big challenge in the coaching staff and for the team. And at some point, I think with wasiNk we disagreed too much on. As I said, I mean the whole team with wasiNk disagreed too much on many way on how to play, how to improve, how to bring the new features we work every day to lands. And because the transition between practices online, I mean, to LAN games is it's really different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is something we lacked under wasiNk. And as the head coach is the one taking decisions, I think the decisions he was taking was not satisfying the team, and kind of showed into the results and to the atmosphere, and we couldn't keep living in the same atmosphere for the part of the season. And I
Okay.
think the VRS ranking is so much gives so much pressure that you are like, if we keep going that way, we going really down south, you know. And we can do that. We have to make that change, and 3D Max decided to make that change. Actually, the organization is not. It's never been like a team talk.
Okay.
Uh, I think himself knew that something was wrong, and so yeah, it happened like that. And was bringing something different and again something new, and that helped. That helped us a lot to have a new chemistry, new dynamic.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We're talking about new chemistry and new dynamic. I think the elephant in the room, probably one of the most interesting questions of this entire talk. How did it end up going down to the fact that you decided to step away from being the IGL and now you're just an AWPer, and Gravity stepped in out of all people, the least experienced person, as the new in-game leader? Whose decision was it? What led to it? And how do you feel about the change?
So first, the decision was made by the new coach.
Okay.
It's been a discussion. It's not something that was an obligation, and I have had to leave the keys to Gravity about the IGL role. But he's a good friend of mine, a part of being my coach, and he knows I had some talks with him the last couple of years that I always wanted to be free in my career as an opera, but I couldn't be in. I think the only year was LGS with Lambert, and having Gravity lacking of individual results. I think to fix that, we kind of said we have to give him more keys, more responsibilities, so he can leave the games. And this is something that suits him well because he was in-game leader in his whole school team when he was in the very low tier scene.
Okay.
And as I mentioned, aspect of bringing the hype, bringing the energy, and bringing something different helps us a lot. I think it's helping us a lot for now, and we didn't want to make a change because we wanted better results. We always missed the playoff this year.
Hmm.
Always like 1 or 2 games close to the playoff, and it was always rough games to lose. And Gravity addition as an in-game leader and me as an AWPer was probably unlocking what we liked until now. And I agreed with that, and I was committing to that idea that he wanted me to bring the real firepower I had on the table for the team.
Okay, before we get into you personally, how would you describe Gravity's ideology as an in-game leader? How do you think do you think that his way of seeing the game and in-game leading has changed the identity of 3D Max as a team, the way that you guys play?
Um, I don't think it changed a lot. Of course, he brings his own thing on the table. When I see my in-game leading, I kind of see myself in a lot of way, but just he will take um, different decisions to satisfy player because as he was a player of the team, he knew when I was doing. He saw when I was doing something wrong for the other players. So it's always the same when you're a player and you're under an IGL. Sometimes you get frustrated because you don't play your own game because you have to follow the direction. And I think he saw what I was doing wrong and he tries to not reproduce it. So in that way, he brings his identity. And I think as aggressive as he is as a player, he brings a lot of like madness into the game.
Is it possible for
Sometimes.
you guys to have more madness than you already have? Like, what is going? What do you mean?
I think he does when he picked up the Mac 10s and we have some crazy rounds. He brings a lot of it.
Right. So you have a French boomage.
Oh yeah, kinda. Yeah, I think so. You have a French boom is in some way. He's that guy. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I love to hear it. And let's talk a little bit about you. How do you feel? Obviously, now you've been away from the IGL role for 3 events. One of them you won. That was the one in China, the PerfectWorld one, and that was your first trophy on LAN this year. Correct me if I'm wrong. So it was a really good result for you
Yeah.
guys. How do you feel as a pure oper now? What are the main differences that you're noticing? Is it easier?
Uh, um, it will be easier. That's what people expect to be. Uh, like you tick something on the table on the paper and you're like, okay, now he's the helper. He has to perform. He doesn't have to think about the IGL thing. But being IGL for so many years, being able to transition from never thinking for the always thinking for the team to never thinking for the team is kind of hard, especially on line atmosphere because even if you practice every day, as I mentioned, it's really hard to translate what you practice every day online to what you want to do offline in a different area of the games.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard in that way, but also it's pretty easier because you have to focus on yourself and you don't have to. You have less. You have more room for yourself and you have less pressure about the team result. I feel like I was putting so much pressure on myself when we were losing games close or losing games. I was like feeling really guilty, and now I won't say no, but less. And I hope to translate what I bring to the team in the next events because for now I don't think people have seen me at my best, except against Mongols maybe. But
Yeah.
yeah.
This actually leans into a really good conversation when you say except for the Mongols, because I had a conversation with King T like 2 weeks ago before the start of Fisher, and right before we recorded this show, I actually recorded the podcast that everyone else that's watching this probably would have seen with Thorin. This is the previous video on the channel, and I was describing your team as because you know the term gatekeeper, where you're the one that's holding all the teams below, and you're sometimes pushing against the team above you, but you have a really sweet spot, let's say around the number 10 in the world where you guys are. So 3D Max, through my perspective, and I'm gonna be as honest as I can be, you guys are a gate that is sometimes really wide open. So you can beat Mongols you can beat anyone in the world. You can beat Mongols. You can beat all the teams that are above you. But then there's gonna be a matchup that you play against the team that you're supposed to be you're let's say 3 times better than you're supposed to be beating on a normal day, and you're gonna lose to those guys like literally the next day after you beat Mongols. So, and I'm coming back to the thing that you mentioned when we were talking about qualifying for the Shanghai Major, when you said you're playing against a top team. The top team underestimates the outsider, and the outsider is hyper focused to beat the top team. That's why the outsider wins. Do you think that you guys are struggling when when you are the favorites and you're expected to do well in a certain game, and you play your best when you're the underdog? So, why do you think that is?
I think it's great, but because I think many people know, and I think even the team, it's a discussion about that fact that we lose when the opposition is worse than us. When you play a team that is worse than us and we never faced or we never won, I think we kind of struggle. For example, I think when we play MIBR, we was like not is who is worse than us. We don't struggle because we had some past events when we beat them. So we have in our mind, we're like, okay, we beat those guys. We know how to beat them. We'll try to keep doing the same way and work the same way. And I think we don't have this pressure we have when we play other opponents. Also, I think being that spot of playing outsiders is tough sometimes because you don't know how to not underestimate, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time not too much overestimate because you won't play your CS. So yeah, it's clearly a 3D Max thing. I think I've seen someone tweeting. I think it was my wasiNk who tweeted like beating Mongols and going out 1-3 is the most 3D Max thing you could ever seen. And especially losing to VP was like for most of people a dead team.
Yeah. How did that game
Uh,
feel? How did that game feel? Did you feel like you beat yourselves, or was it actually a surprisingly good play out of VP?
all 3 games felt like we lost to ourselves. For I don't know why we played like that. I mean, for some reason why. And as I told to my teammates, the best thing is not to know why we play like that. Is know why we have to play the way we used to play. Because if you focus too much on why you don't play how you want to play, you maybe lose the point on what you have to focus on. If you focus too much on negative aspect, maybe you're going to bring even more negative aspects.
Right.
So going out of these events, we probably learn some good things, the good the good ways. I think being humbled like that because it is what it is. We got humbled on that land. We expected so much to be in the stage 3 of the major, to play semifinals, and now we are almost at the stage 1 of the major. So yeah, being humble like that is rough, but it is the best way possible to improve, but we have to use it.
I guess the good news is that you will be playing stage 1 of EPL, so you get to potentially try and gain some VRS before the lock. Unfortunately, CS Asia Championship and IM Chengdu are going to be after the lock, but you still have a lot of tournaments coming forward. And the last thing that I want to ask you, which is now this is probably one of my dumbest questions so far of the interviews, but it's something that I've noticed that I am eager to find out if there's some logic behind it. So I was looking at some of the statistics of you and a lot of the teammates. I've noticed that for you, especially recently, it's a really reoccurring topic that you are posting incredibly good numbers when it comes down to T sides, and then CT side the performance drops a little bit in comparison to the T side. Is there some logic behind all of that, or is that just complete number bullshit? Because we know that ratings don't really tell the full story all of the time. But do you sometimes feel like T side is where you do the best of your job? Because it usually is the other way around for opers.
I don't know. It's not something I was especially aware of it.
Okay.
I've seen in like going through my Twitter line, Twitter list, and I think it's just random, to be honest, because I think I have some really great T sides, but I've been able to put so big numbers that in comparison to CT sides, it puts my T sides higher. Also, maybe I have more freedom on T sides than CT side. I don't know. It's weird to say that. Maybe the upper role is kind of rough on CT side, and I know for a fact we play Ancient, and Ancient is really tough for OPers on CT side, especially when you lose this map a lot.
Mhm.
You have a really bad CT side. I would really be curious to see my CT side without Ancient. Um, but as we are checking on practices, we have access to stats. On
Mhm.
practices, better stats on CT side than T side. So I think it's just
You're using Edge,
yeah,
right?
yeah, we do.
Okay, yeah, we're giving a quick shout out to Edge because I'm looking at some of the things there as well, and it's really
Yeah.
nice. It's just a quick shout out, but okay. I was just wondering if there's some meta to the madness, if there is some logic, and you for whatever reason feel like, for example, I don't know, CT side, you guys are relying on the rifles being more aggressive, so you're being forced to save or being forced into unwinnable situations a lot of the time, and maybe that's the reason you drop. I was just wondering to pick your brain about it, but yeah, that's gonna be about it. I blatantly lied to you about how long this interview was gonna take, but that's because you told me you don't have anything to do after we're done. So that one took a really long time, but I really appreciate you coming over. And to close this one out, I am gonna give you an open mic for between 15 and 30 seconds, whatever time you need to say whatever you want to the people that have tuned in to listen to you, that support you, and we're interested in hearing what you have to say.
Oh yeah. So I will say it in English and I will say it in French. Maybe some French people will listen to this.
Okay.
So thanks guys for following 3D Max and the French scene and believing in us. As long as you believe you are the gatekeepers of tier 1 scene, I mean tier 2, tier 1 scene, we are going to show you that we are able to play among the playoffs games, and under gravity I'm sure we can do it. It's just a matter of time. And I will do it in French. Merci les gars de nous soutenir, ceux qui viennent écouter des podcasts comme ça alors que vous êtes français et tout, vous êtes des kings. Et continuez à soutenir 3D Max, envoyer des messages d'amour à l'équipe et on va vous montrer qu'on est capable de faire de beaux matchs et de bien meilleurs matchs que ce qu'on a fait à Fissure aux prochains événements.
Ok. Merci à tous. À la prochaine.
Merci à tous.
Ouais. Yeah, thank you for coming over. That was a really fun one. Thank you everyone for watching. Make sure you go and follow 3D Max and how they're doing, because
Merci.
it is pretty exciting to see how they have the superpower of beating everyone, but also losing to everyone. It's kind of like a
Yeah.
Russian roulette watching your games, guys. It's always entertaining. It's always nice. But yeah, thank you very much for this one. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye bye.